Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you again for being here to learn more about the JMU Honors College. My name is Chris Gothard. I serve as the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions here at JMU. I'm pleased to be joined by our Director of Admissions, Kelly Ball, who's on the call as well. Kelly, I don't know if you have any greetings you'd like to start us off with before we dive in.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. So sorry for the technical difficulties. Chris and I were joking. It's how many years of Zoom and all the virtual, and we still run into something. But we appreciate your patience through it. And you're about to hear about the Honors College, which Chris is an expert in sharing information on.
Thank you, Kelly. And I know I led with my current title, but maybe the better hat for me to disclose before we get too far along is I am a proud JMU Honors College alum, graduated back in 2019. Some things have changed, some things have remained the same, but very much involved on the alumni side with the Honors College. So want to disclose my strong bias in favor of the honors experience here at JMU before we get too far along. But with that, let me go ahead and give you our roadmap for our time together today. So we're going to begin by talking about what is honors education generally, what does honors education look like at JMU. We'll look at the honors experience, some of those things outside of the classroom, and then move into the admissions process. Also, captured a few of the frequently asked questions, and we'll try and get ahead of those and share that information with you all. But as promised, we'll save time at the end for any questions that are on your mind about the students you're working with. So we'll be mindful of that as well. But without further ado, it JMU and generally speaking, honors education is defined by students thinking broader, deeper, and more complex about different issues. We like to think of honors education as being a small college within a larger college, having those opportunities for independent learning, having those opportunities for faculty mentorship, having those pathways to dive deeper into the material. We are very much committed to that student-centric learning environment where students are driving the ship. They're shaping their curriculum, they're shaping the experiential learning opportunities that they partake in. And all of this happens within the Honors College community, which is another big staple of what we are trying to offer here at JMU. We want students to have those close connections to each other, to work in an interdisciplinary environment, to make those connections with faculty and staff across our campus. And so those are the hallmarks of honors education generally, but also some of the things that we've adopted from that model and have applied here at the university. Honors at JMU, the mission is to develop a diverse community of inquisitive and aspirational learners from all parts of campus through distinctive and challenging educational experiences. You'll notice that we do not say it is harder. You notice that we do not say that this is for a select set of students who are particularly smarter than other students. We are looking for a diverse set of students who want to engage the material in a deeper fashion. We want them to come from all different colleges across campus, and we're proud to report that every single college is represented, and almost all of our majors are represented in the Honors College. The values of JMU Honors are independent student-centered learning, which we talked about a moment ago, interdisciplinary training, and we'll cover that more when we talk about the seminars and some of the curriculum that students in the Honors College will take. Collaboration, also fitting into that same space, and then service and leadership through some of the co-curricular and extracurricular opportunities, but also built into some of the courses that our students in JMU Honors will complete. Just to tell you about the three different pathways through the JMU Honors College, let's start at number one. All students in the Honors College at JMU are completing a minor in Honors Interdisciplinary Studies. The minor totals 19 credit hours, and that is the foundation for every single pathway. All right, so minor for everybody, and then here's where we get a little bit different. Option two is the minor plus an e-portfolio and an additional 3 credit class. The e-portfolio is a reflective piece that combines the work that students have done across their time at JMU. They'll typically do this in their last 3 semesters last year at JMU, kind of taking that time to look at the work that they've done to analytically think about the product that they've produced and to really talk about how they've grown and how that's impacted them as a student and as a person. And then the final pathway is that minor, that 19 credit hour minor, plus a 6 credit hour capstone project. And this takes a lot of different shapes, but it always happens within the student's primary major. And so it might be a research project. It might be for our art students, putting together a theater performance. I was a political science major, so it was very much a thesis, 100-some page look at free speech on public college campuses. Every student gets to pick the topic, pick the product, and also pick 3 faculty advisors to mentor them through that. And so really good opportunity for students who might have aspirations to go into graduate school, wanting to show and demonstrate that independent research ability, to have those close connections to faculty members who can write strong letters of recommendation. Really good option for some students depending on what their end goals are. But the actual 19 credit hour minor is important to mention as well and what makes that up. So all students will take an introduction to honors class. It's a 1 credit course that gets them acquainted with JMU, gets them acquainted with the Honors College, introduces them to the staff members that they'll interact with, talks about some of the different opportunities available to them while they're in the Honors College, but very much that college success skills, welcome to JMU kind of class. After they do that, or simultaneously while they are doing that, they'll complete 12 credits of honors courses. Some of these might be general education courses that are cross-listed as honors classes. Great way to double count some of those so they're not necessarily adding on more work, just doing different work from some of our other students. They also have the option to honors option classes. So, for example, if they're taking their Gen Ed government class and want to make it an honors course, they can work with the faculty member to do an additional project on top of the work that all of the other students in the class are doing, and that will get them honors credit for that course in addition to the Gen Ed requirements. So again, another good way to double count courses. We know that a lot of students who think about honors are also thinking about double majors and a few other minors in addition to honors. So this is a really good way for them not to necessarily add time to their JMU experience, but just to enrich it from an academic standpoint. There are also honor seminar classes, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but those are those small discussion-heavy courses, very interdisciplinary. Just to go back to my experience, one of the classes that I took was about gerrymandering, and it was a class that had geometry and applied mathematics students, political science students, students in communications and journalism, everybody coming together to look at that issue and to think about it from different perspectives. So those are some of the things that our students in JMU Honors get to do. All students excuse me, we'll also do a diversity and global engagement class that's pre-approved. There are a set of classes students can choose from. In addition to that, they'll do a research and experiential learning class that's built in. Again, another set of courses that they'll get to pick from. So that's the base of every honor student experience, and then they can add that e-portfolio or the capstone project onto that if they want to graduate with distinction or graduate with that honor scholar designation. But the Honors College experience doesn't just stay in the classroom. There are a lot of things for our students to do outside of class as well. We have several different student clubs and organizations that are housed within the Honors College. For example, the Madison Honors Leadership Council is a group of students who put on programming for Honors College students, whether that be a bingo night, a game night, a tailgate, or planning community service and finding ways to live out that value that we talked about earlier. There's a Dean's Student Advisory Council where students are able to shape the honors experience for others, providing Dean Bethany Blackstone with some of that student perspective and weighing in on those important conversations. We also have a residential learning community for Honors College students. It is an opt-in experience, so it's not required of honors students, but can be a really nice way to have that living learning dynamic where they're going to class with the same students who are living down the hall from them. We do have standalone honors advising, so every student in the Honors College will have a major academic advisor as well as a minor advisor for the Honors College. And when we talked about double counting classes, trying to fit all of the different programs together, the honors advisors do a really good job of piecing that together, working with the student with that end goal in mind, trying to make sure they're setting themselves up for success. The Honors College also has certain study abroad trips and opportunities that are only open to honors college students. So at JMU, we have 100 study abroads that run every year, but there are a handful that are honors specific. Some of those are our study away programs at Cambridge, St. Andrews, and Oxford. But we also have sent students to Barcelona and Malta on, a spring break trip where they're doing that cultural immersion, giving back, and putting all of those values of the Honors College together into that experience. So that's a big part of JMU Honors as well. And then lastly, there is a strong alumni network that students will have access to, whether that's mentorship, whether that's resume reviews, whether it's just having somebody to talk to about what is life like after college. There is that alumni perspective that's very much still involved in the JMU Honors experience. One of the themes that you'll hear from me today, and maybe you're already tired of me saying it, but broader, deeper, and more complex is very much what we strive for at JMU Honors, and that's what we hope that all students will get from the honors curriculum. Not necessarily, again, more difficult than the non-honors sections of the classes, but just allowing students to engage that material in a different way. The classes are often smaller. There is a cap on seats in those classes, so they're going to keep those sometimes larger gen eds smaller if they're doing an honors section. Those seminar classes obviously can't be 50 students. There's not going to be a great discussion in a setting like that. So they manage those seats pretty intently to make sure that students get the experience they need. They are often more discussion-based courses, and the seminars are very much interdisciplinary and focusing on some of those other pieces that we talked about in the curriculum, the global engagement, the diversity, and the research and experiential learning parts of the JMU Honors curriculum. But with that, just want to move into the admissions process now. We have about 1,200 students presently in the JMU Honors College. Again, all academic colleges are represented in JMU Honors. For those that are trying to do the quick math, I'll save you. That's about 6% of our student body that's a JMU Honors student. But to move into the admissions process, there are three different intakes. There's a first year process, a transfer student process, and a current JMU student process. First important note is that students do not apply to JMU Honors through the Common App. They apply from the Honors College website. So once they submit their application, there will be a question on that final page. Are you interested in JMU Honors? If they check yes, they'll get a redirect link that'll take them to the website, but that's where they'll complete that application. It is separate of the Common App, in case that was not clear. So students will have to apply to the university and then proceed with that application process for JMU Honors. The Honors College application is relatively straightforward, and much of the process is writing two short answer essays. They are short, but also very impactful in the decision-making process. All students who apply to JMU Honors, or maybe I should say most all, just to cover my bases, are high achieving academically, right? They've all challenged themselves with rigorous classes. They're all earning great grades in their courses, the things that will get them into JMU. The part where honors has to differentiate students is based on those short answer essay responses. They're really looking for a couple of things. First, the questions that students are asked are two parts. Please make sure your students are answering both parts of the question. They'll be doing better than some of their counterparts if they do that. They also are looking for students to show alignment with the values of the Honors College, and those are clearly stated on the website so they can review that before they submit their application. And then one of the other areas where students can differentiate themselves is by not necessarily talking about what they've done, but talking about who they are, right? What are they going to bring into this community of learners that the Honors College is trying to build? So those are a few things tips and tricks that we recommend sharing with your students who might have interest in going through this application process. The Honors College for first year students does have two application processes. They have an early action process 1 week behind us on November 8th, and then again 1 week behind us for regular decision on January 22nd. Just to give you a little bit of the broader context in terms of numbers, obviously too early for us to give you anything for this year, but looking back to last year, JMU Honors received just over 3,000 applications, which was about a 10% increase from the year prior. They admitted roughly 55% of those applications, of those applicants, I should say, which was about 4 points lower than their admit rate the year prior. And they are always looking to enroll a class of between 300 and 350 first-year students. And that is a tight number that really cannot expand because of sections and classes and because of those housing opportunities or options through the residential learning community. So that 300 to 350 is where honors is and is also where they plan to stay. They're not forecasting growth in that space. But with that, let's move into what we're looking for. We talked about this a little bit a moment ago, but looking for students who are committed to academic excellence and are also interested in that additional challenge that Honors College will bring, thinking broader, deeper, and more complex about issues. They're also looking for a diverse group of students who are interested in engaging in the honors community, both inside and outside of the classroom. And we talked about that, right? Who you are, not what you've done, what you would bring to the community. Please make sure your students are highlighting that. One thing that you'll hear our colleagues in the Honors College often say, honors is an opt-in experience at JMU, right? We don't necessarily want the students whose parents are making them go through this process. We're looking for the students who really sincerely want to take on this added challenge, who are high achieving, who do want to work in the material and engage it in a deeper way, who want the faculty mentorship, the independent research opportunities, the study abroad opportunities that have something tangible that the Honors College is offering that really resonates with them. And so we just encourage your students to highlight what that is, what's drawn them to the Honors College, what they would get from the Honors College as they go through that process. But now moving into some of the FAQs that we often get, a lot of students are applying to JMU Honors because they hear about priority class registration. That is not something that we are endorsing in our office, nor is it something that we are endorsing on behalf of our colleagues in the Honors College. Yes, it is a benefit at present. Yes, students in the Honors College are able to register for classes before their peers. But that's not what we want to draw students into the program. It's not something that we're necessarily going to offer in perpetuity. It's not going to be around forever, but it is a benefit at this point in time. And it's really to make sure that students are able to get the classes they need with that additional curriculum being added on to their schedule. Want to make sure that everything's lining up, that they're meeting degree requirements for all of their programs of study and not staying at JMU longer than they have to be. Another question we get from families is there an additional cost? And the short answer is yes. Honors College students do pay an extra fee of $200 each semester, but please know that the Honors College is committed to reducing that or waiving that fee for students with demonstrated financial need. All Pell Grant eligible students will have that fee waived thanks to a scholarship in the Honors College that's available, and that is automatic. They don't have to do anything additional. If there are students who fall outside of Pell Grant eligibility but do have that demonstrated level of need, there'll be partial scholarships that will help to offset that and make honors a possibility for them. And again, the fees are charged just to help with the programming and some of those special opportunities that Honors College students have access to here at JMU. Will honors work with my major? We get this a lot, particularly for students who are in prescribed majors, let's say nursing or business, things that have a little bit less flexibility. But the answer is yes. Honors works with every major, and there is a great deal of flexibility in the Honors College. Our dean and assistant and associate deans in the Honors College work very closely with faculty across all of our different majors to make sure that honors can be and is a viable option for students who want to pursue it. And there are, again, lots of ways to make it a flexible experience, to have the curriculum double count for various requirements, to try and make sure that it's doable for students without respect to their intended program of study. And then a final question that we get is why honors? Why should I do it? And hopefully we've covered this, but I always like to capture it with what I call the 3 C's: curriculum, community, and cultural enrichment. And I think that really sums up the JMU Honors College experience. Yes, they're doing that minor. They have the research opportunities through the capstone project, that e-portfolio option. The curriculum's a great way to meet students across majors and to think about topics, again, deeper, and more complex. We also want students to think about community when they're deciding whether to join JMU Honors. Are they looking for those students who have that similar set of interests? Are they looking for the residential learning community? Are they looking for those programs, those co-curricular options that are available? So that's another one that we want to draw attention to. And then the last one is that cultural enrichment piece, those specialized study abroad opportunities, the study away opportunities. And so those are that might be the most succinct way to talk about JMU honors with your students. And then I'll end with something that hopefully you've seen come through as a common theme during our time together. But the Honors College is built for a student who wants the Honors College experience. Okay, there is no one set of student, there is no one profile of an Honors College student at JMU. We're really looking for students who want to opt in to JMU Honors, who feel like they would benefit and also contribute in that space. And so all students are welcome there without regard to major, without regard to background, whatever it might be, looking for students who want that added program of study. But with that, that's the overview that I have. Hopefully, we're staying on time here. It looks like we are, and we have about 15 or 20 minutes for any questions that you all might have about JMU honors or about JMU generally. Happy to field those as well. You're welcome to use the chat feature. You're welcome to unmute and speak as well. And I'll pull out of the screen share if everybody's okay with that so that I can see our colleagues that are in the room. Now, I am confident I didn't answer everybody's questions before they asked them, so please don't be reserved. Please let us know if there's anything that's on your mind.
I guess I have a question. Hi, I'm trying to get my video on. Um, is the what is the in-state, out-of-state makeup of the Honors College? Is it overrepresented from out-of-state or in-state? Is the selection criteria similar?
It's a wonderful question, and something I should have included in the presentation. So thank you for catching that so that I can clarify it here. One of the goals of the Honors College is to have proportional representation of the broader JMU community. Okay, so that would be in major composition, that would be in men and women, that would be in in-state and out-of-state. And so at JMU, as a university, we sit at 75% in-state, 25% out-of-state. The Honors College reflects that almost in lockstep. And that's their goal. They want to have students of all backgrounds, students of all majors of interest represented in accordance with their representation on campus. It is no more competitive to apply as an out-of-state student than it is as an in-state student. I also want to address that part of your question. The criteria stays the same, right? Looking for students that show that value alignment, looking for students that answer the question in a way that really shows how they would benefit and what they would bring to the Honors College and answer both parts of the question. Students who do that, no matter their residency status, will have success in the JMU Honors College process. Thank you for that, Kate. I see a few questions coming in the chat here. There was a question, are there any scholarship opportunities related to Honors College? That is a really good question. So I often get this asked by folks that think if I'm admitted to JMU Honors and I enroll in that program, then I get a scholarship. That is not the case at JMU. Okay, there are certain scholarship opportunities only available to Honors College students, but not all honors students are on scholarship here at JMU. As you may know, speaking from a broader perspective here, but as you may know, only 7% of our students are on a scholarship from the university. We try and keep our cost of attendance at a competitive rate and then have a robust financial aid package that we offer students to try and bridge that gap and make JMU accessible for them. But in terms of specific scholarships at the Honors College and what they're offering, there's the Dingle Bluestone Scholarship, which is the premier opportunity. Students would apply to JMU, apply to JMU Honors, and then apply to the Dingle Bluestone Scholarship as that third step. That timeline is very tight. So they apply to us by November 1 in JMU, November 8 to the Honors College and November 15th to the Dingle Bluestone Scholarship. Again, doing those steps before they have admission decisions and know that they're into the university and into the Honors College. I also want to be clear, there is one, as in a single winner of the Dingle Bluestone Scholarship. So it is very, very competitive. It does cover the equivalent of in-state tuition and fees for students for the student who is awarded the scholarship. But please know that there are other funding mechanisms that might be a little bit less competitive that are open to all students, right? Things that are found in the Madison Scholarships Hub, things that might be tied to their major or different extracurriculars that they're involved in. And so we encourage students to look at a more broad list of scholarships than just the Dingle Bluestone Scholarship. And then one final piece I'll add to kind of put a fine point on this question from Sarah. The Honors College also has scholarships for some of those experiential learning opportunities. They are big believers in the value of study abroad. They encourage their students to take advantage of those opportunities, and they know that those costs can sometimes be a barrier. And so they have specific scholarship funds available to offset those costs so students can enjoy that experience and take advantage of that experience. They also have scholarship programs that will fund research over the summer, or if students are doing their honors capstone, that 3 semester long, 6 credit capstone experience. They can get funding there to help promote their research, and maybe they need to go study away at another institution to do that research. There are some different scholarships available to offset those expenses as well. So there are scholarships specific to honors, the premier one, Dingle Bluestone Scholarship, but we also want students to look at a more broad list. I see a question from Vicky. Thank you, Vicky. Can students live in the honors residential community for more than 1 year? The short answer is yes, but most students do not. So oftentimes it's the first year students who are living in Shenandoah Hall, which is our honors residential learning community. We do have a fair number of sophomores who stay on for that second year. And then after that, we do see most of our students, both in honors and in the broader JMU community, move to an off-campus residence. The one thing that honors students might have a higher representation in is being a resident advisor, right? A lot of those students are looking for leadership experiences. A lot of those students want to give back and serve their fellow students, and also have aspirations to maybe continue their education for an advanced degree, and so want to save that money while they can. So a lot of honor students do look at that RA position and maybe the hall director position in their senior year. But beyond that, the Shenandoah Hall residential learning community is traditionally first year and some second year students. Next question I see here, do the application reviewers also see the Common App essay? I know the prompts are different, but possibly the content could be similar. Fantastic question. Thank you for that, Sarah. The answer is no. So the only information that they get from the application that's submitted to the university is actually the academic review that our office does. So we are characterizing the rigor of their program and their grades in core classes, and those metrics are shared with them as that academic review piece, and they're setting their criteria using those metrics. But the actual essay, the letters of recommendation, the activities list, all of the other components in the Common App application are not things that are being shared with the Honors College. They are just taking that information that's submitted in their application and using it to make their admissions decision. I should say that is how the process runs right now, but there is always conversation about ways to adapt the process to find the best fit students. And so every year there are those conversations happening, and we will certainly keep you updated and in the loop if there are any changes in the next admission cycle or the cycle after that. Want to make sure that you have the information you need to best advise your students. Next question, how many applicants do you get for the Dingle Dean Scholarship typically? From Megan. Thank you for that, Megan. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I suspect that it's hundreds, and I feel pretty safe saying that, but I don't have a precise number other than the characterization that it is uber competitive. And so that's about as good as I can offer at this point in time, but happy to try and follow up with you after the call with that.
That's plenty. It's just, setting expectations with students is always helpful. And so just even that estimate's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. Thank you, Andrew, for putting the list of Honors College scholarships into the chat there. And then another question here, how important is the personal statement in the main JMU review? Thank you for that, Kate. It all depends on what's included in that personal statement, right? And you'll hear this at a lot of schools, but JMU is no different, right? If the student's telling us something new about who they are, what they would bring to our campus, how they would contribute to our community, If they're providing academic context in that additional information section, then that's all value added, right? It helps us better advocate for the student to the admissions committee. It gives us a better idea of who they are and what they would bring to JMU. So all of that is helpful for us to have. Now, if the student's copying and pasting things found elsewhere in the application, if they're sending in an essay that mirrors 5,000 other essays about a torn ACL or grandma being a great role model, then it might not be the most value added. We will read everything that's submitted. We actually don't score the essay at JMU, right? Our review is very much an academic review of rigor and grades in core classes, but that context is something that is accounted for, right? We take that to the admissions committee and use that as we're making our final decisions. So I hope that answers your question, Kate. Thank you for that. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like I might have cleared the queue here. So I'll pause again for any other questions that may be on your mind. If you're typing those, want to make sure we're addressing them as well. Hope everybody's doing well. 1 day out from no or 2 days out from November 1st. Forgot that there's a 31st day in October for a second there. Block out Halloween.
I just want to pop on in here and say thank you all for coming on. Thank you for working with Chris and getting the new link here. I know that's not what was expected this morning, so I appreciate that. But rest assured as well, just like every other webinar that we have, it is recorded. It's going to be uploaded to our website and be sent out to those who were not able to make it today, especially because of the change in the Zoom link here. So we appreciate you all coming, and if any of your colleagues were not able to make it, it will be uploaded to the website and sent via email as well. So they can be able to watch the information back regardless.
Wonderful. Best wishes, guys. Hope you hang in there these last couple of days. Holler if you need anything.